Most people spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the right resources, waiting for someone else to believe in them. And when success never comes, they blame circumstances. They say, I wasn't born rich. I didn't have support. I didn't get the chance. But excuses have never built empires. Excuses don't create millionaires. Excuses don't change lives. Rim Jhon is living proof of this truth. He didn't come from privilege. He didn't have money in the bank or powerful connections guiding his journey. He didn't even have the so-called perfect environment that most people think they need to succeed. But what he did have was a decision, the decision to stop making excuses and to start taking control of his destiny. Today, Rim Jhon is recognized as a millionaire and an inspiration to thousands of people worldwide. His story isn't about luck. It's about refusing to play the blame game and learning how to win despite the odds. And in this video, we are going to break down his journey into 5 powerful parts. If you've ever caught yourself saying, I can't do it because, then listen carefully, because Rim Jhon's life will show you exactly why you don't need excuses, you need responsibility, action, and persistence. Rim Jhon's story didn't begin with comfort. It began with limitations. He grew up without financial security, without a family legacy to lean on, and without the kind of supportive network that many successful people take for granted. For most people, this would have been enough reason to give up before even trying. Think about it. Every day we hear people around us say, I can't study because I don't have the right school. I can't start a business because I don't have capital. I can't improve because my environment is against me. These are the words of people who surrender to their circumstances. And Rim Jhon was surrounded by the same mindset. People told him, life is unfair. The system is broken, your dreams are unrealistic. He could have believed them. He could have let those voices convince him that he was destined for mediocrity. But here's where Rim Jhon made a life-changing choice. Instead of accepting the excuses handed to him, he decided to reject them. Rim Jhon understood something powerful: excuses don't change the outcome, they only delay it. Complaining about not having money doesn't create wealth. Complaining about not having time doesn't give you an extra hour. Complaining about lack of support doesn't bring people running to help you. Excuses do nothing but build walls around your potential. So, what did he do differently? He replaced excuses with ownership. Instead of saying, I don't have money, he asked, how can I create value that earns money? Instead of saying, I don't have the right environment, he asked, how can I build an environment that pushes me forward? Instead of saying, nobody supports me, he said, then I'll become my own support system. Every great transformation begins in the mind. And for Rim Jhon, the turning point of his life came when he realized one powerful truth: nobody was coming to save him. Up until that moment, he had 2 choices, the same choices you and I have every single day. Choice 1, continue blaming circumstances, continue saying, I can't because, and stay exactly where he was. Choice 2, take full responsibility for his life, his actions, and his results. He chose responsibility. And this wasn't easy. Taking responsibility means no more hiding. No more excuses. No more pointing fingers. It means looking in the mirror and saying, if my life isn't where I want it to be, that's on me. And if it's going to improve, that's also on me. Rim Jhon began to see responsibility not as a burden, but as a source of power. Excuses made him weak because they placed control outside of him. Responsibility made him strong because it placed control inside of him. Think about it. When you say, I'm not successful because I don't have support, you've given all your power away to other people. But when you say, I'm not successful because I haven't learned how to push myself yet, now the power is back in your hands. Because you can change that. This shift changed everything for Rim Jhon. He stopped waiting for luck, for handouts, or for perfect timing. He took ownership of his education, teaching himself skills, reading books, studying people who had already succeeded. He took ownership of his discipline, building habits that created consistency even when he didn't feel motivated. And he took ownership of his vision, holding himself accountable to move forward every single day. It wasn't glamorous. Responsibility rarely is. Most nights it meant staying up later to learn when he wanted to sleep. Most mornings it meant getting up earlier when he wanted to stay in bed. Responsibility meant sacrifices that no one else saw. But those sacrifices built the foundation of a millionaire mindset. And here's what's important: responsibility didn't mean Rim Jhon never failed. He failed plenty of times. But unlike excuses, responsibility allowed him to own his failures, learn from them, and come back stronger. Every mistake became a teacher. Every setback became a stepping stone. So if you're wondering what separates people who dream from people who achieve, this is it: responsibility. Excuses sound good in the moment, they protect your pride, they make you feel safe, they allow you to avoid discomfort. But responsibility? Responsibility forces you to grow. It demands you step out of your comfort zone. It requires you to admit your flaws and still keep moving. That's exactly what Rim Jhon did. And that's exactly why he outgrew the people around him. While they were stuck in the cycle of blame, he was climbing the ladder of growth. And the lesson for all of us is clear. Stop saying, "It's not my fault." Start saying, "It is my responsibility." Once Rim Jhon made the decision to take responsibility, the next challenge was building the discipline to back it up. Responsibility without action is just theory. And action without discipline is short-lived. If there was one trait that separated Rim Jhon from everyone around him, it was his ability to stay consistent, even when motivation disappeared. You see, most people start strong but quit quickly. They get excited about a new idea, a new habit, or a new goal, but the moment it becomes uncomfortable, they fall back into old patterns. They wait for motivation to return, forgetting that motivation is temporary. Discipline, on the other hand, is permanent. And that's the principle Rim Jhon lived by. He understood early that if he wanted to achieve financial success, his daily actions mattered more than his occasional bursts of inspiration. So, he built a routine that locked in progress. He treated each day like a small investment into his bigger future. In practical terms, this meant waking up earlier than most people. Those early hours gave him time to learn, plan, and execute without distractions. It meant cutting out wasted hours scrolling, complaining, or comparing himself to others. He replaced that time with intentional actions, reading books on business and personal growth, practicing skills that would later generate income, and surrounding himself with content that fueled his vision instead of draining it. Discipline also meant saying no more often than yes. No to negative environments. No to short-term pleasures that stole long-term results. No to excuses disguised as reasons. Every no was a yes to his future self. But perhaps the most powerful part of his discipline was consistency. Rim Jhon didn't just work hard once in a while, he worked hard every single day. He had a saying, "Small wins daily lead to massive victories eventually." And that's exactly how he lived. He focused on progress, not perfection. He didn't wait for giant breakthroughs, he trusted that small, disciplined actions would compound into life-changing results. And they did. Over time, his disciplined routine built habits. And those habits created momentum. While most people were stuck in cycles of starting and quitting, Rim Jhon was steadily climbing, step by step, day by day. Here's the lesson: discipline isn't about doing something big once. It's about doing the right things repeatedly until they become part of who you are. Rim Jhon became a millionaire not because he was lucky, but because his discipline turned effort into results, and results into success. So if you're serious about building a life without excuses, ask yourself, what does my daily discipline look like? Am I waiting for motivation, or am I building habits that keep me moving when motivation fades? Every success story has a hidden chapter that most people don't see, the failures, the setbacks, and the nights when giving up feels easier than moving forward. Rim Jhon's journey was no different. For every victory he celebrated, there were countless struggles that could have broken him if he had chosen excuses instead of growth. He faced rejection after rejection. His early projects didn't work. Some of his business ideas failed completely. And there were times when the people closest to him doubted him. Imagine pouring your heart and time into something, only to watch it collapse. Most people in that situation say, "See? This is why I can't succeed. This is why it's impossible." But Rim Jhon never saw failure as final. He saw it as feedback. Instead of asking, "Why me?" he asked, "What can I learn from this?" That single mindset shift turned his struggles into stepping stones. When money was tight, instead of using it as an excuse to quit, he used it as motivation to find creative ways to generate income. When doors closed in his face, instead of saying "no one gives me opportunities," he built his own. When people criticized or doubted him, he didn't waste energy trying to prove them wrong, he invested that energy in proving himself right. One of the most powerful things about Rim Jhon was his ability to reframe pain. Where others saw obstacles, he saw training. Each rejection made him tougher. Each setback taught him patience. Each failure built resilience. Slowly, those struggles became his greatest assets. And this is a truth we all need to understand: success isn't built in the moments when everything is going right. Success is built in the moments when everything is going wrong, but you keep moving anyway. Most people let struggles define them. Rim Jhon let struggles refine him. That's the difference. He believed that the harder the challenge, the stronger he would become by facing it. And with every storm he walked through, he came out not weaker, but sharper, smarter, and hungrier for success. So what's the lesson here? Don't run from struggles. Don't hide from failure. Because those are the very experiences that will shape the discipline, resilience, and courage you need for greatness. Excuses are easy when life gets hard. But excuses never create growth, struggles do. Rim Jhon embraced his struggles. And that's why today, when people look at his success, they don't see the countless failures that built it. But he remembers them. And he knows that without those failures, there would be no millionaire story to tell. When you look at Rim Jhon today, it's easy to see the success, the millionaire lifestyle, the recognition, the achievements. But behind that image lies a simple truth: his success wasn't the result of luck, shortcuts, or privilege. It was the result of living without excuses. Think about the 5 lessons we've explored in this journey. He rejected excuses from the very beginning. Where others said, "I can't," he said, "I will." He took full responsibility. No blaming, no finger-pointing, just ownership of his life. He built daily discipline. Small actions, repeated consistently, that compounded into big results. He turned struggles into strength. Every failure was fuel, every challenge was training. And finally, he proved that excuses can never compete with effort. That's the formula. It's not glamorous, it's not complicated, but it is powerful. And here's the part where you need to look at your own life. What excuses have been holding you back? Maybe you've been telling yourself you don't have the money to start. Or you don't have the time. Or you don't have the right support system. Ask yourself honestly, are these reasons, or are they excuses? Because if Rim Jhon's life proves anything, it's that you don't need perfect conditions to succeed, you need consistent action. The truth is, nobody is coming to hand you your dream. Nobody is going to do the work for you. Success doesn't care about your excuses, but it will always respond to your discipline, your focus, and your persistence. So here's the challenge: starting today, drop the excuses. Replace every excuse with a step forward, no matter how small. If you don't have money, learn. If you don't have time, create it. If you don't have support, be your own supporter until others see your vision. Because one day, just like Rim Jhon, people will look at your success and call you lucky. They won't see the sacrifices, the failures, or the nights you kept going when everything told you to quit. But you'll know. You'll know that it wasn't luck, it was the refusal to live by excuses. And that's the real message. You don't need a perfect start. You don't need approval. You don't need permission. You need to make the decision right now that your dreams are your responsibility. So ask yourself, are you going to keep living with excuses? Or are you ready to build a life that proves what's possible when excuses are no longer an option? The choice is yours. Just remember, Rim Jhon chose responsibility over excuses, and that decision made him a millionaire. Imagine what it can do for you.